Alright, I wonder if there's anything else that we need to unlock before the episode starts. I don't think so. No, those are all electronics. Nah, I think we're good to go. Okay, what? Oh, hello there. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. You know, we ended last episode without going back home. And, it felt awkward because we always do our intro and our outro on our porch. And, we didn't go back home kind of out of defiance of, the fact that we spent so much effort putting together the mechanism to get all of our materials to the job site without having to go back home, that we just didn't go back home at the end. It was just, it was the proof point to nobody. But it felt really weird doing the outro down on our porch. And even when I was doing the editing last episode, it felt strange. And so, I thought about it. I even thought about redoing the outro. But in the end, there was only one real conclusion on how to tackle such a problem. So, welcome back to Satisfactory. My name is Volcata, and today we will be completing our oil Megaplex. We put a lot of work in last episode, designing the layout, figuring out what our dimensions are going to need to be, and as mentioned, getting all of our materials here. So today, we're going to get it done. Now, there's a tremendous amount of work ahead. There is so very much to do, and it's going to be hard to pack it all into the episode, but I'm determined to do so, which means probably you're about to see a pretty long time lapse, because I need to build basically this entire thing. And, there's a lot more to do beyond that. Of course, we have to move the train station into the build. That's going to be a lot more of running rails, getting the stations in the right place, incorporating it within the right size, as well as we need to travel away from here because we don't have compacted coal coming to this area yet, and we can't fire this up without the compacted coal. So there's a ton to do, and, after we're done, tear down our, our new house. So let's get to work on putting this together and see how fast we can actually get it done in a time lapse. Boy, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a real challenge, and I can't wait to see it completed because this is going to be awesome when I get done with it. So enough talk. It's time to get to work. My goodness, what a lot of work that was. Yeah, and it's just not over. It's not over. There's still so much to do. But we got the layout done, and that's fantastic. Everything is in place, and I actually managed to squeeze all of the 112 generators into the grid so that they didn't have to extend out beyond the refineries. So I'm very happy with that. Now, as you can see, I've already started doing some of the piping. I did just a tiny little bit in the time lapse because I wanted to show that something that had to be done and kind of show it in high speed. But I didn't do it for the rest of it because I didn't want the time lapse to be 4 hours long. Also, you've probably noticed by now that in the time lapses there's a problem with placing some objects like these. They don't render after a certain distance, and so you'll see me placing them and then they'll disappear from the time lapse, and that's a render distance issue with the screenshots, because for those who haven't been following it, the mod that we have to use to create these time lapses actually takes screenshots, and then we go back through and delete a bunch of the screenshots in between to compress it into something that looks kind of smooth, and then compile them all into motion. So it's like an old picture book where you flip through it. And the time lapses usually are thousands of screenshots put together. But unfortunately, again, that render distance is shorter in the screenshots for some of those things, and so they disappear sometimes. Anyway, as you can see, I've also started color coding things, and I want to get an opportunity here to kind of walk through what we have. I still have just an absurd amount of stuff to do, but okay, I think I can survive this jump. Oh, can I not snack? Oh, missed it! Oh, I missed the whole thing! Oh my goodness! How did I miss that entire thing? Okay, well, we survived. Half a heart. As I was saying, I want to do a quick run through because, it kind of mirrors, right? We have three sides of the horseshoe that are mirrored in function for the refineries. And I want to walk through here and show you, we've talked about it on paper, what we're going to do, but this is it in reality and how it's all linked up. So we have 20 refineries in the back. That's the back row for each side. And we are doing 10 rubber in a row and 10 plastic in a row. And the reason we did that is we said that we were averaging the heavy oil residue because the plastic only produces 10, rubber produces 20. And if we group them like that, then we average 15 per minute. And so that works out really good in the math because for 20 refineries at 15 per minute is 300 per minute total of the heavy oil residue, which is a tier 1 pipe. And so we bring them all together. And you can see they're kind of in the color of the heavy residue. And we pipe them over into these first 5 refineries. And these are the heavy oil over to fuel. And again, we said we have 300 coming in per pipe. So 300 divided by 60 is 5. And the 5 refineries will produce 200 fuel. And of course, those come out the front. Let's squeeze through here. Come out the front, and then the rest of them need to convert that fuel over to turbo fuel. So that it just pops down to the ground, actually just goes under, comes right back up. And then we have 9 of these, which is just enough. It's actually just a little bit more than we need to refine all 200 of the fuel into turbo fuel. So this one actually will need to be underclocked to like 99% because we're actually at like 202. So that's how that's going to go. And then they are all linked together for the turbo fuel that will be coming out. And eventually those will all pipe into all of the generators. So you can see we've started linking the generators. We color coded in kind of a crimson for the turbo fuel. And we stuck a bunch of these generators kind of in the corner. Because again, you know, we had a need for 112 generators, but we had initially a grid of 10 by something, right? We initially kind of said 10 by 10, which would be our 100, and we'd need to stick 12 in somewhere. It actually, we were able to do, I think, 10 by 8. So we've stuck a bunch of them in here. So 4 there, 5, 6. So 6 on each corner. And then we had to just kind of stuff a bunch of them here. So we got 3 there, 3 there, 3 in between the 2 refinery sets. And then we have a couple extra over on the corner, which worked out exactly at 112. Now this is going to create a little bit of a challenge because we need to link these refineries, so we might go down and under these. In fact, that's probably what we'll do. We could go up and over, but we'll probably just go under them. But I still need to go through and I need to pipe all this stuff. Obviously, all the conveyors still need to be run. There is still probably a couple hours or more worth of work to be done here before even considering running all the rail line. But I wanted to show you real quick. So we're going to have a tunnel. I'm going to try to put lights throughout the tunnel. And, you know, we'll run it around. So it'll come around, come through this tunnel. It's going to pop up into the oil complex. It should be pretty cool to see it come out of the tunnel. And here it will drop off its compacted coal, pick up the rubber and plastic, and then it will disappear back into a tunnel and make its way back. But let me get back to all the wonderful fun of piping. So let me get on it. And yeah, we have so much more to do this episode. So I can't waste any more time with this on camera. All right, it's all done. Ready for the big reveal? Dun, dun, dun. Oh man, that's way more work than I really want to admit. I don't know, I think we're over 15 hours into this episode. But it is all piped, all the conveyors are run, all the electrical cables are run, the rail line has been completed. You can see the pipes are run for the crude. It's more or less ready to fire up, except of course that we don't have compacted coal coming here. So let me get down from my perch, and last time we jumped off, we barely survived. But let me get down and let me do just a little show and tell real quick. Don't have a whole lot to show about that, but talk about our plans and get to the next stage of this. All right, the super quick highlights from the last time. We talked about how we had these generators in the middle between the refineries. Didn't know whether or not we were going to go above or below with the pipes, and I ended up going above, both because it looked better and because we have, of course, the tunnel going underneath, and we couldn't really run the pipe down and under cleanly because of the rail tunnel. So I ended up going up and over for those. We're producing 600 rubber and plastic per minute, which one belt will not cover. So we have on the, we're going to call this the end, right? This is the side without the refineries. We have one of each type on the end. So we have this 10 right here are rubber, and then the 10 on the end over that side of the horseshoe are plastic. And, you know, just 10 of them alone is 200 product, right? 'Cause it's 20 per. So that's easy to run. So those 10 have their own dedicated belt on both sides, and they come towards the middle. And then they run down. And this belt here on top is going to be compacted coal going back to those turbo fuel facilities. But then these can go under because there is no tunnel under here. These just pop down and go under the station and come up on the other side. So that worked out real well. And by those belts taking 200 off of the 600 load, that meant we only had 400 left to run on the other belts. So that made it real easy. You know, a Mark IV belt does 480. So a Mark IV belt run down the middle here connects the corners. So, you know, we grouped them. Get down here. That's plastic. And then the other, you know, turn the corner is plastic. Yeah, there we go. See, they're blue. So that's plastic and that's plastic. And these all collect up and go under and then pop back up and join the belt and carry along. And these are carrying the compacted coal across, down, and then over to those facilities over there to turn into turbo fuel. And as much as I would like to continue this tour of this facility because of just how much time it took to build it, we don't have that kind of time. We need to head back home. And we need to start setting up the mechanisms for getting our compacted coal here. There's the tunnel out. I love it. I love the way the tunnel came out. You know, we are running a mod to have it daytime at all times so that it's easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. It's, you know, it gets real dark at night, and as much as I like the nighttime in this game, it's just not good for filming. Oh, by the way, I'm keeping the house, and those power storages back there are going to come into play in a little bit. We'll get back to that. Anyway, as I was saying about the tunnel, I would like to try going through the tunnel at night. I'll have to remember what the commands are for me to set it to night, because it's always daytime when I'm filming, because again, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. But I want to see what those look like at night. So if we have time, we'll figure out what the commands are to turn the daytime to nighttime and run through those tunnels and see how the lighting looks. But let's get back to our home area real quick, so we can set up the compacted coal, at least part of it, so we can start getting it to the place it needs to go. Home sweet home. It's been a while. I have missed this place. All right, so what we need to do is get the compacted coal, which I'm going to have to remember where I ran it. There it is. So it seems like it was a couple episodes ago that I started this. Compacted coal is going to come out right there. Should see it on the belt. Yep. And connects to this belt. And it's going to run up to the back station over there, the back freight platform. This station right here, which is already painted black because it's going to be coal. So it'll go into here, and this will be the 5th car on the Quickwire train, which currently, you know, it goes to Quickwire and then it goes to the manufacturing hub for the electronics. And it's going to be what's going to pick up the compacted coal, but it's not what is going to deliver it. It's just going to use the electronic hub kind of as a way station. And then we'll have to have another train carry it on to the other area, which will be the plastic rubber train. So let me get this connected here and fix my inventory. This is what we had left over from our construction. And then we can get going to the electronics hub and work on the next connections. All right, train is well restocked. My inventory is restocked. We're not going to oil, we're going to hub center west. I think that's going to be the right one. And the final freight platform is now filling up with compacted coal. Although I don't believe that we have a 5th freight car on the Quickwire train yet, but that's okay. Perfectly fine. We have a lot to do anyway, So we'll catch it as it passes through the station at some point. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to add a 5th station right here. And this will collect up the compacted coal. It's going to send it down onto the platform, come across, and then it's going to come back up over here and load up one of these. So it's just going to be a transfer station. Wait till this guy's through before we start messing with his stations. And eventually we will redirect this train so that instead of it going to the original oil area, it'll go to the new oil area and it'll bring compacted coal along with it. All right. All right, so let me get to connecting these together. And if you've done the math, you might realize that we're not bringing enough compacted coal. We are only producing 300 compacted coal at the steel area. And we need 400, which means we need a secondary source. And here we are back at our coal generator facility. You know, this has been powering our entire factory up until now, more or less, right? We have a few coal burners at the temporary oil location, but these have been the workhorse. And if you recall, this platform over there and this one right here are both running off of compacted coal. And this large one over here is running off of regular coal. Of course, we're not going to touch that one because that's what we want to do is we want to start using regular coal. We're going to leave that one alone. It can go ahead and continue its merry way on the compacted coal. But we're going to convert this one over to regular coal. And we're not going to lose any power. And if you look over here, we have 6 across, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 2 rows, so that is 12. We have 12 generators running on compacted coal are going to go over to regular coal. Compacted coal runs at 7.14 per minute. Regular coal takes 15 per minute. So 15 per minute over 12 generators is 180 coal. That's what we need to ramp up in order to take away the compacted coal from this facility without losing any power. And that won't be too terribly difficult. We have an unused coal miner over here. That's the little baby one. Is only producing 60 per minute. All right, the deed is done, and it was actually easier than I realized. Much easier. I didn't realize that this little baby was actually just a Mark I miner. So I upgraded it to Mark II, and that's 120, and just overclocked it once. So now it produces the 180 all on its own. So we didn't have to mess with any of that stuff. Much easier. Now you can see it's not really running much because we're still draining out the compacted coal in some of these. This guy switched over to regular coal, but you know, they haven't all drained out completely yet. That's fine. And I have run the compacted coal all the way across, and it is now going up into the new station. And I want to get back over there real quick, because we need to catch the quick wire train to give it its 5th car. And then we need to catch the one that's going to go, to our actual new facility so that we can ride it back and have it start delivering compacted coal. Oh, they pulled in together at the same time. I just disabled that one. I don't need to disable this one. I just need to put a car in the back of it. All right, so next time that hits home, it should pick up a bunch of compacted coal. This is set to unload. Hopefully I set the one to load back at home. And did I set this one to load? I think by default it should be set to load. So there's already compacted coal, right, coming from the new facility. It's not a lot, not hardly much at all, but it probably is enough. And, all we need to do is get the smallest amount of turbo fuel going, and then we're stable. So let's make sure this, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we give him 1. Hop in here. No longer will you go there. We'll now go to Oil West Coast. All right, and we'll do a manual docking. No, why are you turning around? You shouldn't be turning around. Where are you going? Oil East. Wait a minute, didn't we just change that? All right, well, relax and enjoy the ride, I guess. You know what, actually, while we are going to the wrong place, I do want to take a moment to talk about the schedule for this series and some minor interruptions that might be coming up really soon. Now, the series is secure, you know, we're continuing on, but there are some outside influences that might make it a little bit more difficult for me to keep up the once a week schedule at all times. You know, I'll try to continue the once a week, but in addition to some outside pressures, Hard Space Shipbreaker is coming out of early access in, I think, less than a week. So I'm going to need to be back on that for a while. Probably be doing live streams going through the career mode, but I also need to do a bunch of videos because I did a full set of tutorials for it, and I need to update them all for 1.0. So that is going to be another time pressure that's going to be on me for a while, and is going to compete with my time for making these videos. This is the long-term series. We're definitely sticking with this, but just be aware that there might be a week or two here and there, you know, some times where we miss a Sunday for the episode. Just to be aware. But let's hope that this thing takes us to where we actually want to go this time. Oh, there comes the other train, and there is a 5th car on it. That means it has picked up some compacted coal. Excellent. That means the next cycle of this should get a pretty good load on top of what it's picking up right now. Oh, this looks so cool. I love seeing the lights on the train. I am so happy with how that came out. Alright, so hopefully I have that set to unload. But even if I don't, it doesn't matter because it's going to take time for the oil to get through the system before the turbo fuel can even start to be made. Is it going to unload? Is it not going to unload? Okay. I had it set to not unload. I thought I'd switched it because, you know, originally we had our personal train here, and I didn't want it to unload, you know, all of the stuff in the car into here, which was our concrete car. So I intentionally didn't set this to unload, but I meant to switch it back. Apparently I forgot. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this thing fired up. We now interrupt this segment for a word from our future self. All right, so yeah, I kind of had to cut out like nearly an hour worth of footage. We fired this thing up and it just kind of limped along, and there was just a lot of time of my running around trying to troubleshoot the small things and do so live, you know, while recording, so that actually made sense. And without really knowing where the problems are, you know, there's a systematic method you have to go through, you know, looking for things that aren't running, following the lines, checking everything, and and it just took way too much time. And I went to edit this video, and I looked down at the timer and realized that we were already at 40 minutes, and I had another 40 minutes worth of footage to cut through. So, you know what? I've just cut it all out because it was not really entertaining. So I'm going to give you the quick cliff notes. There were some small problems with things not being able to lift enough, pumps not being able to lift enough, like this right here was necessary. The fluid just wasn't really making the height enough. It was just getting a little bit through. And that was causing some bottlenecking. We're going to need that as well right here. And even with that, you know, I've tried this on the other side. Let's hang out while we're here. These just never quite get a reliable flow from this weird split. So we're just getting rid of it. That's going to still get these two over there and contribute enough, so that's all right. We are going to... No, we're not doing that. We are doing... Yes. We're doing that. Right there. There it is. So that will be sufficient, you know, to flow just straight through there. And then we're just going to bring that across the opening. Not real ideal because it's blocking the walk, but, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of walking going through here anyway. That's going to stabilize these, and I've tested that on the other side over there. We also had problems with these pumps here that were sending up crude. They were up just a little too high. They need to move down a little bit. So the crude wasn't getting enough through the pipes in order to fuel the whole factory. It was just little things like that that we had to take care of to get it up and running smoothly. But it is running smoothly. However, there is one more clip I want to include from the original run, and it involves these belts and the products on them. So let's cue that up real quick like here. So real quick, while it's still powering up, I realized I made a boneheaded move, and I need to shut this off quickly. So the facility is still firing up. However, I forgot that the plastic and rubber switch kind of sides. And I'm going to wait for this to finish. They're mixing, which is bad, real bad, because we have production lines that are using them and are going to get clogged up. So I need to fix this real fast while this is all going, and we'll come back when this is all running and I got it fixed. Yeah, so, well, that happened. But sadly, that was actually not the worst part of it. You see, the way we have the refineries organized, you know, we have the horseshoe, right, come across. So that segment of 10 and that segment of 10 are matched up, right? So that segment and that segment produce the same thing, and they merge and come across on a line. And that segment merge and they come across on a line. Well, not only did I have the ones, you know, that were coming around in the back coming to the wrong ones, so now underground they crisscross. So like that one right there crisscrosses over to here. And this one coming down crisscrosses over to here. Yeah, not only was that a problem, but I had the stations flipped. So you see the plastic coming on here? That was rubber. And the rubber here is plastic. And you may or may not remember, but the train has plastic in the front, rubber in the back. I had them swapped entirely. So even when I had crisscrossed them properly, they were backwards. So in short, I had to go through and I changed the recipes on all 60 of the refineries to swap what the products were going through. I had to clean out all of the stations I had to go over to the electronics area, clean those stations out, drain all of the lines. I had to delete all of the conveyors that were going into the machines because they had, plastic was getting to where rubber should be and rubber was getting where plastic should be. I had to replace all of those. So that was like an hour or two worth of stuff just to fix the mistake I made. But the whole place should be running smoothly now. I'm going to actually stop this because we're going to get to our outro here. We're out of time. But yeah, the whole place is up and running, and I'm going to still spend a little bit of time double checking and making sure everything is running more smoothly. Like, these are now the fix that we just did. These are now running reliably. Just little things like that. I need to make sure it's all ironed out. And as you can see, our power looks like it's running pretty stable now. So that's a good indication that we probably have all the problems ironed out. So we're going to go to our new summer home for our outro. But I wanted to show you one more thing on the way out, which is the train tunnel at nighttime. This is so cool. Oh, I love this so much. It'd be great if it was always this dark in here, even during the day. It's such a great effect. It makes me want to do tunnels everywhere. Well, that is going to wrap it for this episode. And I know we're pretty well over time, but it was just a mountain of work to get done. There's still more stuff I'm going to have to do off camera, making this this platform less floating. And just other little things, clean up all of these power storages. They're not meant to be there, get rid of that platform. There's little things, but we are keeping this as our summer house. I'm attached to it. I like the view. And, maybe we'll come back and visit it on occasion. But I hope you enjoyed it. There was a lot we had to do. We packed in as much as I could without, too much jumping around. I tried to make it as smooth as possible. Sometimes it's difficult with this large of a build. A lot of things to cover, a lot of things to show. But, if you enjoyed it, definitely hit the like button. It lets me know that people are enjoying it. It lets YouTube know, as a small-time YouTuber, it helps the algorithms understand that maybe I'm making quality content. And then more people might want to see it. And definitely stop by the comment section. Love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions about this, definitely ask about them or just say hi. And we received a comment last time, asking about making these saves as available for download. Let me know if there's actual interest in downloading the saves. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe. And as I mentioned earlier, there are going to be some time pressures that are coming up. The release schedule might be a little bit shaky for a little while. We'll see how things go. But the series is secure. We're doing this in the long term, so don't worry about it. If I miss a scheduled time, then that's just something that happens. Consider subscribing to my Twitter account because it is my easiest way to let people know when there might be delays, or if there are things that come up. But again, thank you very much for coming out, and I hope to see you in the next episode.